When journalist Jeffrey Goldberg leaked messages from a government group chat he had accidentally been added to, he knew it was a big story. But as the US press worried about lax behavior from Trump's staff in Europe, there was another concern. Trump's confrontational approach towards the EU is well known, but now we also know everyone else around him seems to feel the same way. "I fully share your loathing for European freeloading. It's pathetic," said Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense. "We are the only ones on the planet, on our side of the ledger, who can do this," he wrote, referring to a planned drone strike in Yemen. Trump loves power games, but it's unlikely the group chat leak was purposeful. The cover of a CIA agent was blown. Nevertheless, it does serve as part of a wider campaign to intimidate the US's European allies. The administration's hostility has become increasingly explicit. Vance suggested annexing Greenland, while criticizing Denmark as not a good ally. Official Steve Witkoff proposed replacing European influence with partnerships with Gulf monarchies, and Trump himself has claimed the EU was formed to screw the United States. So are these accusations of freeloading fair, and why is Trump's team so critical of Europe? At the heart of Trump's team's frustration with Europe lies a persistent accusation of freeloading. Europe is riding on the US's coattails, and this complaint manifests in several different ways. In military spending, for example, the administration criticizes European NATO members for insufficient defense budgets while enjoying American protection. Vice President Vance specifically highlighted that while only 3% of US trade passes through the Suez Canal, 40% of European trade does, suggesting Europe disproportionately benefits from US naval security operations. Additionally, Trump views the US-EU trade deficit as evidence of European economic exploitation, claiming the EU relies heavily on American consumer demand without fair reciprocation. These complaints, however, overlook fundamental realities about America's global strategy. The United States' worldwide military and economic presence is primarily driven by self-interest rather than generosity. American military spending maintains global influence, particularly as China's power grows. Naval presence in regions like the Persian Gulf advances America's strategic objectives, providing leverage against adversaries and preventing rival powers from filling the vacuum. Meanwhile, the dollar's status as the world's reserve currency naturally creates conditions that lead to trade deficits. In the 1956 Suez Crisis, the UK, France and Israel attempted to remove Egyptian President Nasser after he nationalized the Suez Canal. Despite military success, American President Eisenhower refused to support the intervention, making it impossible for Britain to continue. The crisis exposed the increasingly unequal nature of the US-UK special relationship and ended British Prime Minister Anthony Eden's career. Since the Suez Crisis, Europe has largely aligned with the US leadership in global affairs, particularly regarding Middle Eastern interventions. The message was clear: intervene with the US, or not at all. After the Cold War ended in the 1990s, America established itself as a single global superpower. For its allies, it was the world's policeman, and Europe played the role of backup. But with the rising power of China, a resurgent Russia, and the emergence of BRICS, the US is having to adjust its strategy to maintain its power. Compliant but militarily ineffectual allies who share cultural values are no longer as attractive. Unlike Bush in the Iraq War, for example, Trump isn't looking for someone to support his moral authority, like British Prime Minister Tony Blair did with the search for weapons of mass destruction. Rather, Trump worries about a strong economy and the ability to project US military power. Moral justification can come later. Despite the current friction, there is still a connection between Europe and America. As the group chat shows, Trump's government still sees Europe as on its side of the ledger, and making sure that side of the ledger is as strong as possible is what Trump's aggressive, uncomfortable, often selfish foreign policy claims to be about. But the current tension between the US and Europe does reflect shifting global power dynamics. European countries have pragmatically navigated a world shaped by American power for 70 years. Now there is a feeling on both sides that something may be about to change. Hi, it's Arthur. Thanks for watching History Behind Headlines. If you enjoyed the video, why not like and subscribe?